Time for some NFL Betting Blitz presented by Parlay Play. I'm Gino alongside Erik from ETOF21 Sports as we get set for Super Wild Card Weekend. 6 NFL playoff games this weekend. 2 teams on the bye awaiting winners for next weekend. On this show, we're going to talk about the 2 Saturday games. We'll be back with you tomorrow to talk about 4 more games, 3 on Sunday and 1 on Monday. If you're watching this and you're in the state of Iowa, we encourage you to sign up for a DRF Sportsbook betting account. Right now, if you use the promo code FAST300, they'll give you all the way up to a $300 deposit match bonus plus a $50 free bet. And Erik, we're going to also talk about Parlay Play. We can play props over at Parlay Play. And I have a couple different players today that I've targeted for Parlay Play props. Also players that I think you could use in a DFS lineup. I put together a couple DraftKings lineups last night for today's 2 games. So let's dive on in, my friend. If anyone's interested, Erik and I have already looked at these games very in depth. So if you want a little bit more information on them, we covered them on my podcast. You could also find the video on social media. For the purpose of these games, I want to talk a little more or also about some players we could use in DFS and props, Erik. But this game is a fascinating game to me because you have these 2 teams who were not good last year. In fact, these 2 teams were both last in their division last year, and they come back and make the playoffs, which is fascinating. And you don't see that in as many sports as much as you do in football, right? Where you have teams in one year based on the way the schedules are set up, based on the way the salary cap and things like that. So the Texans are a 2.5 point underdog here at home, though. And the Browns are a 2.5 point favorite on the road in a playoff game. You kind of presented it in a way yesterday, and I've been thinking about it all day. Just, hey, so Joe Flacco is a 2.5 point favorite on the road here in a playoff game against CJ Stroud. Win or lose, it's just a funny way to think about it, especially if Stroud is the next coming like he's been through a lot of this year.
The whole thing, are we going to look back at it? If Stroud goes on this run, he's had a great season, and obviously next year the Browns will have Watson starting. We really have no idea where Flacco is going to be. Are we going to be looking at it and say, Jesus, Joe Flacco was a road favorite to CJ Stroud in the playoffs? In terms of this game, look, quarterbacks making their first playoff start, 17-35 ATS. That's 32.6% ATS. Home teams getting 3 or less are 9-8 or 2, but when it drops down below 3, so 2.5 or less, are 7-2-1. Huge experience factor here with Flacco. Is the moment going to be too big for this Texans team and CJ Stroud, who are ahead of schedule? Texans defense has been very good all year against the run, but they really struggled last game against the Colts.
They did, which was weird. Taylor ran all over them.
And rewatching the game last night, it was a lot of counters, a lot of gaps that they were having trouble. Now, if me walking on my treadmill in Chicago is able to see that, I'm sure that Bobby Slowick is able to see that. Are we going to Kevin Stefanski's going to see that. So is he going to start attacking that for with Jerome Ford, who I think is a pretty good fantasy football sleeper? Also, I did bet Amari Cooper over 73.5 yards receiving. Last game, 15 targets, 11 receptions, 265 yards. Texans allow the 10th worst catch rate. So the 10th best catch rate to opposing wide receivers, second best catch rate to opposing wide receivers of teams in the playoffs. Texans run a majority of zone. Cooper averages an insane 2.79 yards per route versus zone coverage. Texans also struggle against defending the deep ball, which we've seen Flacco extend with them. They are 32 DVOA defending wide receiver ones, 23rd defending the pass. So I also I bet Cooper Kupp over 73.5 yards receiving. And I just put this one in right now. I did bet David Njoku to score a touchdown at plus 75, I think.
I'm looking to at a parlay play.
185, excuse me.
And on parlay play, I put in this game 2 possibilities. Nico Collins at over 14.5 points. He's at 70. His receiving yard prop is in the 70s, depending on where you're looking. Well, so I just went over 14.5 fantasy points because I think that'll encompass some receiving yards. You get a possible touchdown. What's nice with a guy like Collins is he's such a big play threat too. That could be one play.
Yep.
14 points like that. We saw in the first play of the game last week. They dropped back. They hit a big bomb like that. And so if I'm looking at this game, Erik, because I already locked in the Texans at +2.5. I locked them in on the money line a little bit too. I think my number was +112. It's right around that right now on DRF Sportsbook. What I'm looking at in this game, I have a couple DFS lineups. And then for parlay play, I put together Nico Collins over 14.5. I put together David Njoku over 13. You just had Njoku for a touchdown. I've been pointing out with Flacco, weeks 14 through 17, he has 39 targets. Njoku, 28 catches, 370 yards. One thing that concerns me about the Browns in this game, though, they turn the ball over a lot. League high 37 turnovers. They get away with it because their defense is so good. But in a game like this, where you're playing against an offense who is also a big strike offense,
yeah,
it might be a little bit difficult. Just a fascinating matchup. These are the Deshaun Watson trade teams,
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, nowhere to be found in this game. And the Browns, there's 2 games this week where, as a fan, I'm a little bit bummed out because I feel like both of these teams have had such a great year, and there's really good karma for them right now. Everybody likes both of these teams, which is fascinating because at the beginning of the year, everybody hated the Browns, but now everybody wants to root for Joe Flacco and what he's been doing. And it's really great to see a rookie playing so well. This is the first rookie head coach and rookie quarterback combo to ever win a division in the NFL. Which is amazing feat for them. So, yeah, I got Collins. I got Schultz. What about Schultz? Is he someone we tackle? Because they have they're missing that second, third kind of next tier of wide receiver. That's where the Texans have problems.
Noah Brown may not go also.
Woods has been banged up, and Dell's been out for a few weeks.
Correct. So I would definitely go to I like Schultz. I would look at Schultz too.
And I think in DraftKings, because when you're looking at building a DraftKings lineup this weekend and you're looking at some of the tight ends, you'll have a couple top tier, high price tight ends. And then you have someone like a Dalton Schultz, who I think is 4,400. Very fair.
How for my slate, for the one I did, is I just went bottom of the barrel. I went Cade Ogden for my tight end this weekend, just because of how bad the Eagles are defending the middle of the field and the tight end, and also no Blankenship possibly for them. But yeah, if you're doing the slate today, your Kelsey's going to be the most popular one. Then Njoku, a good, nice contrarian play would be a
Schultz. Yeah.
Schultz.
So game 1 today, Browns at the Texans. Good luck to both of these two teams. Good luck to the staffs too. Stefanski, D'Amico Ryans. In my opinion, you put those two up in a conversation with Dan Campbell. Hell, you put them up in a conversation with who I thought Steichen was involved. I know people probably won't give it to him because he didn't make the playoffs, but it seems sort of really one game and they were tied in that game. And that's the difference between a coach of the year and not. But we've had some guys this year that have done a really good job. And this might be, if Bobby Slowick has a good game or two, he might be a head coach somewhere next year.
I think he's going to definitely get a look. At first I thought he was going to go to the Titans, but I think Shefty tweeted out earlier that Pierce was the front runner for that job.
Yeah.
A little shocker. So if he doesn't go there, then probably he's going to go to Carolina, because I'll be honest, with Carolina, they're going to go after somebody that's young that can be bossed around by an owner.
Let's go to game 2 for Saturday. Remember, if you want a little bit of help for the Sunday and Monday games, we've already recorded deep dives on a lot of those. You can find them on social media. It's me, Gino B, and we'll go through everything you need to know for all the games if you want to get ahead for Sunday and for Monday. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. Now the Dolphins are a 5-point underdog on the road. They have lost their last 10 games when the temperature is 40 degrees or lower. Tonight, it is supposed to be 2. I saw a stat that said if you are outside for more than 30 minutes with skin uncovered, you could get frostbite. So not even like 30 minutes.
We call that a Tuesday, dude.
Like a Tuesday.
I mean,
now,
I'll be honest, we are getting hit like no other. I'm in Chicago right now, and we are getting hit hard. We have 11 inches of snow. We're supposed to be negative 20, I think, tomorrow with the wind chill. So I do not want to go out at all. And it's a cool
I don't think Tua does either. Man.
As a Hawaiian kid, you have a team from up north coming to play in this frigid temperature. Plus, on top of that, no Bradley Chubb, no Phillips. That's their 2 best pass rushers. The reason why that's a big thing is because you can pressure Mahomes. Mahomes has struggled against pressure, and their offensive line hasn't been as good as it's been before. Miami 30th DVOA defending the tight end. Great matchup for Kelsey. I bet the Kelsey over 56.5 yards receiving. I would not straight bet this because the number is too low. I like to bet touchdowns at plus 150 or more. He is plus 135. He has scored a touchdown in every playoff game with Mahomes, but the first one they played at. So if you're looking to do something that maybe first touchdown, but I'm sure it's going to be a low price. Also, Mozart going to be banged up, which is huge for this Finns rushing attack. Achin isn't like he's like Reggie Bush. 15 touches a game.
And he'll break a few big ones, but he's not a lean on the every down guy. And you do a really good job of pointing that out. We saw that this year with a guy like Tony Pollard. Yep. When you're not really built for it, you get different types of runs, right? When you're the between the tackles back and when you're the off back, right? Or when you're the change of pace back. And the types of runs that A-Chain might be getting between the tackles, those aren't the runs where he breaks big ones. He needs to be in more space out there. And those are the little ones that a little bang on the ankle, a little bang on the knee, and then all of a sudden he's out of the game. And they can't have that. This team is decimated by injuries right now. They have injuries with running backs, wide receivers, both Hill and Waddle banged up. We don't even know what's going to be going on with Waddle. Him and Mostert missed last week. Chubb, Phillips, Howard, Van Ginkel, Baker, all on the defensive side. Offensive line not healthy. Could be without both of their starting safeties. They only scored 47. They only had 47 total yards in the second half of last week. They went 1-5 against teams with a winning record this year. This game, I think the Chiefs are going to, I just feel like from a spot standpoint, where the Dolphins had these tough games towards the end of the year. They had a big game last week, a divisional game that they had to get up for, and then they just end up losing a few players. And while all that's happening, Miami or the Chiefs are just chilling on their bye. On their bye. They basically took a bye. Kelsey's getting rest. Nobody plays the last week because they don't have to. I think Kansas City wins this game pretty easily, pretty handily. Honestly, I would even mind if, again, I know you got the number at 4 right now. If I was looking to play this game, I'd rather play an adjusted line than just play it straight at 5. Like, I'd rather bump this thing up to 7 or to 10, get yourself extra value. And you just hope that if you're handicapping this game right, that the Chiefs defense has been really good this year. And I think they're going to be able to really slow Miami down in this game. One guy that I may look at also, you know what? I'm building my DFS lineups and talking about parlay play. Pacheco. So the last 4 games that he's played, Pacheco has had 25.9 DraftKings points, 24.3 DraftKings points. Against the Raiders, he had 11.6. And then against the Bengals, he had 32.5 DraftKings points. He had 7 catches in that game to go along with 18 carries. In this game, I feel like there are 2 guys that the Chiefs are going to really trust with a wet, snow, cold game. Mahomes and Pacheco. I don't know if you're going to give the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? Between the tackles, he's not someone that's sure-handed. And all the other receivers, they've had problems with drops all year long. So I think in this type of a game, I could see them trying to lean on those guys, Eric. So for me, I threw Pacheco in some lineups. I'm fine with Pacheco in your parlay play. Any of your parlay play props, because there's a few different ways you could play him on parlay play. 66.5 rushing yards, 16 rushing attempts. You could also play 15.5 fantasy points. And I keep going back to that. What's nice with him is 15.5 fantasy points is probably a good one for parlay play because he could get that combo today. Short passes like we saw last week, 3 or 4 receptions, and then 15 to 20 carries.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a heavy Pacheco game. My boy Bryce is heavily invested on his over rushing prop. I think it's like 59.60.5, which I definitely like as well. I think they're going to lean on the run, short yards passing to Kelsey. Also, Waddle, soft tissue. You saved them for this game. Now you're playing in the cold weather with a soft tissue that really isn't stuff that works well together. Tua struggles when he creates pressure. The one I really wanted was Chris Jones sack, but unfortunately, that's at -115. That's a little bit too short for me. I think they're going to be able to create pressure because of the banged up offensive line, because of Tua's lack of footwork in the pocket. I just think this is a bad matchup. I think the Chiefs are going to roll. I like your adjusted number. I'm going to stick with my -4. The question I want to ask you is this, though. If the Chiefs roll, not even a game, get completely blown out, do the Fins move on from Tua?
Man, you wonder. That's one of those things where it would feel to me like what would happen with the Rams with Goff and McVay.
Yeah.
Right? Because the only guy that can really tell us is McDaniel. And I feel like he's the type of guy who, if this happens and he realizes he can only go so far with Tua, that you might think about and I'm not saying I think Tua's better than him, but think about a guy like a Jimmy G and look at what you see with San Francisco, how, maybe they don't win it all, but watching them, their team definitely has a higher ceiling with Purdy than they did with Garoppolo, right? Purdy throws the ball down the field farther. He seems better. And they could even Sam Darnold has a better arm than Purdy. Now, I'm not saying Sam Darnold's a better quarterback, but what I'm saying is for a guy like a Shanahan or a guy like a McDaniel, what they can do offensively, think about how much more it could be unlocked when you have a quarterback with a big arm that can throw the ball down the field a little bit more. And they don't have that right now. And I went through all the stats for Tua, how he's great on script. He's great with anticipatory passes. He throws guys open, but against tougher defenses and against defenses that know you, that have already played you, he has a really tough time. I thought the comparison, I read this when we recorded yesterday, the comparison that the guy on the Ringer made was he's like a pitcher who he's great the first time you face him. He's pretty good the second time you face him, but the third time through the lineup, he only has 1 or 2 pitches, so you can connect on him. That's how defenses are with Tua. Eric, I completely agree with you. I don't know if they lose, he's out, but I think if you get another really bad showing in a big game where he has got 2 or 3 turnovers and he just doesn't look good, then now, the conversation we were having last year was, can he stay healthy? Well, he stayed healthy this year, but down the stretch, he was really bad.
I'm not a big Tua guy at all. He struggles outside, struggles toward the end of the year. My thing is the 2 names I'll throw out to you is right now the Cards are sitting at the 4th pick. Do they decide they want to go in a different direction, trade Murray to the Fins, get the Fins first round, probably a pick, and then, you know what I mean? And then use that, go after Kyler Murray or Justin Fields. Just because those guys are more versatile with their feet.
And you think
Obviously,
about with McDaniel,
yeah,
how much he could open something up for them.
yeah. So
That would be,
I mean,
yeah.
just kind of looking at that would kind of be like those are the two things that kind of jump out to me.
Let's answer a few questions here, Erik. Uncle Rico doing some double duty today.
Yep. Double duty. College basketball show earlier, and now this. So, yep. Enjoy it. Glad. Thanks for tuning in, my man.
And then our buddy, I Hate the Lakers, has a couple of basketball questions. Murray to the Lakers. I don't really like that one that much, to be honest, because I don't think Murray has been as good defensively the last couple of years. I do think if you were to make a trade and you would put him next to LeBron and AD, you'd probably see his level of defense get back to where it was because he wouldn't have to do as much offensively. The problem is, I know like we're coming off of a game where he got torched, but I don't like giving up on Austin Reeves right now. I think for me, watching the Lakers when they kind of go up and down, I think it's right now their scheme and I'm not going to blame everything on Ham at all, but they're not doing the things that they did last year when they played well. I think when you have a guy like Anthony Davis, you don't really need to switch very much. You know, like you really shouldn't be a switching team as much. You have Vanderbilt and Cam Reddish as your really good defenders to guard the other team's best defensive players. Why would you switch? The whole reason why you have Vando out there is to play defense. You don't want to have him get switched off and then let guys target Austin Reeves. People were laughing at Austin Reeves the other night, and my counter was, why the hell is Austin Reeves guarding him one-on-one? Like, as a coach, why would you put him in that position? You know, I don't think so that's what's been frustrating. I feel like I don't know if Ham will get there, but just getting back to the lineups that worked for them last year, you know, Rui's been in and out of the lineup. They have had not a whole lot of consistency with their role players. I think that's really hurt them because after 1 and 2, the guys like 3 through 8 haven't been around. So I don't like Murray as much. Honestly, I would prefer, I don't think they're going to do this. I would prefer Caruso and like DeRozan. Like, I don't think they need another big guard that can score and all that. They need a defensive guard and somebody that can dribble the ball a little bit. Erik, I hate the Lakers, man. He's coming at both my Lakers and your Pistons, but that play last night was pretty funny. Huh?
It's brutal, dude. They're like, you're playing Monty Williams all that money
for this.
Yeah.
That's the worst part.
You can tell Cade wants out, which is brutal. So
I know. And he's impressed me a little bit more this year than I thought during all of this. He's actually played really, really well. Yeah, Erik's pulling double duty. And, okay, you can't tell no tail in OK State. You got OK State today?
Yeah, he was giving me shit about betting OK State.
Well,
that's a great spot for them. And, you know, they pushed against Baylor. We're on them. They lost last game against Texas Tech. But, you know, late run, you know, on them again, have to fade Iowa State. Have to fade Iowa State with their offense and laying such a big number.
We'll get to this last one as another Lakers question. Does Ham get fired? It's tough. You know, that's
the thing. Who?
That you always ask this question, like, who's better? And he's still the guy that took this team to the Western Conference Finals last year. You know, he did some things that were really good last year. I think he leans early in the season on some of the defensive guys a little too much. And I don't mind that. I like having really solid defensive players in your rotation, but I think we're getting a little too much Cam, a little too much Taurean Prince right now. That I do really think that the Lakers have pretty close to a roster that can win the title. I just don't think the mesh of everything has been great. And I haven't changed it all on Reeves. Like, Reeves is great. Reeves is going to be good. He's really nice value. Again, I think sometimes he's being asked to do things that are not necessarily, he's not been in the position to succeed quite as much as he was last year. So for Reeves, he really should never be your number one ball handler ever. He's not that good. He's not good enough to get everybody involved yet, to see all the vision. Remember, this is his third year. This guy was an undrafted player. he's great when he's your second or third ball handler on the court, because then it's very difficult to match up with him when you've already got like LeBron and D'Angelo out there. Problem they have this year is a lot of guys were attacking D'Angelo and Austin when they were out there together. So they just have to figure out a way to get all these pieces in the right spots. I think they have them. And Let's Make Money says they have James and AD in the playoffs. It is kind of funny how I feel in a series, you only have to win every other game, and that is a little bit different than the playoffs. Okay, Erik, since this is a football show, Sports Facts asks us, sleeper for a DFS lineup today.
Jalen Warren. For today, geez.
So Warren's for tomorrow, one we can put in. So I'm looking at DFS today. Do we go someone like a Singletary? I threw him in. I have a few different lineups. I threw him on one a little bit under the radar. I talked about Schultz myself as a tight end who I thought could be interesting. What QB would you go today of the four?
Of the four? Of the four today, I would actually go Watson for the Chiefs. That would be my sleeper.
Oh, you know what? I've got Watson in a lineup too.
That would be Watson for the Chiefs would be my sleeper.
And he's only 3,400 in DraftKings. And just keep an eye, because he got one target in week 18, but week 18, they were sitting a lot of their guys. Prior to that, 2 weeks ago against Vegas, he has a game where he has 6 targets, 4 catches, and he has 13.8 DraftKings points. That's the type of game that you're fine with. That's what you're looking for right there.
Yep. You get that production. It's well worth it.
Good luck, everyone. Remember, if you need any action, parlayplay.io. Do you have any other parlay plays that you want to hit on? We kind of talked about them throughout the show.
Yeah, my 2 parlay plays would be the receiving overs for Cooper and Kelsey.
Yep, I went over the fantasy points for Nico Collins, over the fantasy points for David Njoku. We will be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time to talk about the 3 Sunday games and the Monday night football game. Good luck. It's a beautiful time to be a sports fan right now. We've got super wild card weekend ahead. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here, buddy?
Best of luck, and let's make some money, guys.
Let's crush it today, folks. Have an awesome Saturday. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Sunday.